Times Magazine published the 1619 Project. It argued that 1619, the year of the first slave ship, is widely believed to have arrived in what is now the United States, was as foundational to America as the year 1776, and that the legacy of chattel slavery still shapes our society. Today, the 1619 Project premieres as a documentary series on Hulu. The New York Times spoke to the 1619 Project's creator, Nicole Hannah-Jones, about what went into the documentary and how the events of the past few years, like the pandemic and racial justice protests, shaped it. Social justice protests? You mean riots? But I digress. By the way, Hannah-Jones is not a historian. She is a New York Times journalist, and many parts of her essay have been debunked as flat out wrong, particularly the notion that the American Revolution was fought to protect slavery.
What's going on, everyone? Talks with Kenny here today. I'll be reacting to Black History Month. And my thoughts with Black History Month is I don't believe in Black History Month. You know, I'm going to hear it. I know.
How dare you?
I believe that American history should already cover African American history. I don't believe in any separate designation. Remember, I'm a big fan of France, a citizen system where they don't make any subdivisions of their people. It's either you're French or you're not French. I believe America should have that same system. But hey, you know, people can agree or disagree with that point. But I wanted to get into this article, which I believe was a good article that signifies my belief of if we are to teach about African American history, that it should be balanced, right? There's too much emphasis in Black history about two themes. Y'all can tell them, say it with me: slavery and oppression. Bruh. That's all you really learn. That's what everyone in school wants to focus on for Black History Month. Is that you were slaves, that you were oppressed, all that. But they don't tell you, like, and this guy, I think his name was Derek Max, and he makes a good argument about what we should be teaching our kids. And Frederick Douglass said it best, that it's better to raise strong children than to fix broken people. And the way we go about teaching Black history is going to create more broken people. You're teaching your kid that they can't do anything because of the color of their skin. Why you're putting a self-fulfilling prophecy, because there's two things they say about men: one who believes they can and one who believes they can't are both usually right. Bruh. So if you're teaching your kid at a young age, right, because kids are very impressionable when they're young, that they can't do anything or they're at a disadvantage, you're sucking the motivation right out of them to try. So the article is called "Hope Drives African American Exceptionalism," right? And this is from a former school principal in a 100% African-American student body, which 95% of them came from low-income families, right? The presumptive valedictorian and salutatorian come storming into my office. "President Max, there has to be more to our history than slavery and oppression," and there is. Sorry, I lost my track. What ensued was a long dialogue on their longing to be taught of the greatness of their history and their fatigue with the overemphasis on oppression and injustice. Who on the political aisle hyper focus on oppression and injustices? I'll wait. Ain't conservatives. Nope. Ain't libertarians. Nope. It's the liberals. Why? Because the liberals, they want you to feel like you need them. To me, look, at best, liberals have a savior complex and they feel like they need to save you. At worst, they want you to stay comfortable being the victim so that way you forever be dependent on the government. Those are the only two motivations I see going on. Or it's a misguided misplaced empathy, right? The road to hell is good led to bad. Sorry, I'm messing that up, guys. The road to hell is paved by good intentions, right? I don't care about intentions. I care about the result of a policy. And we're going to get into this today, because this is what my question is going to be to you guys on the other side of this screen. What matters more, intent or results? You'll answer this at the end of the video, right? So where were we? Pondering our curriculum, including our past African American history program, I realized we have fallen short in telling the full and inspiring story of African American exceptionalism. I thought about how this may have prompted or perpetuated our students to assume negative stereotypes about themselves and how it may harm their academic efforts. What good is teaching history if all you take from it is the bad, the bad, the bad? Jewish people don't do this when they teach about their history. They give you the full picture. Say Germany did this, Germany did that, Germany did this, but look how we overcome. There's always a positive message at the end of it. But if you always end a story and it always end negatively, we're still dealing with this oppression today. We're still dealing with the trauma of slavery today.
Nope.
How you experience the trauma that happened? Like, imagine this. This event happened 400 years ago. And for some reason, you are somehow traumatized. Somehow you got PTSD. You can't get PTSD or trauma from something you haven't physically been through. Like, slavery happened 400 years ago. No one here, to my knowledge, is 400 years old. This is why I argue against reparations. No black person deserves reparations because, in effect, you're taking advantage of the suffering of your ancestors. How is that morally right to you?
It doesn't make sense.
It don't make sense to me that you're benefiting off the suffering of your ancestors. How can you feel okay with yourself wanting to get paid off the suffering of your ancestors when you personally have not gone through any suffering yourself?
Bruh.
But hey, look, I digress, right? I fear that school districts like Albemarle County, I know my English need work, are doing the same by introducing unconstitutional practices into classrooms and filled with critical race theory, right? We all know our talk about critical race theory, and you're someone saying, oh, they're not teaching CRT in classrooms. The whole thing that parents like me have a problem with CRT is we don't want any concept of, hey, you are at a disadvantage because of your race. We don't want none of that.
Nope.
We don't want any type of, oh, you need to get special treatment because of your race.
Nope.
We need special combination because of your race. That's what parents are going against. That's what we're categorizing as critical race theory. But let's continue. The true central theme of African American experience is hope, which is true, right? Martin Luther King's speech. Look it up. It's Black History Month, guys. Look up Martin Luther King's speech and tell me, is that a man looking for despair or that's a man preaching about hope? I'll wait. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing. What was the theme of his speech? Was it about a better tomorrow or obsessing over a past that he can never change? Tell me what the message he was saying in that speech.
Bruh.
I'll wait. But it seems like we seem to have lost that. Hope was the resounding cry of many, a spiritual song, and is the plea of the oft sought after civil rights anthem, We Shall Overcome. What happened to that? Now, when you go see Black Lives Matter, they out here protesting, destroying property, setting their community back another 15 years, 10 years economically. No one called them out.
Nope.
No one saying, hey, look what you're doing. You're doing more harm than good. You're a net negative to the world. We later found out that it's allegedly that the 5 gang members that killed Tyree Nichols was gang members because BLM rioted there before and they demanded that they lowered the standards for hiring police officers so that way more people representative of their community will be policing them. They took that L, right? Imagine that. So it all comes back full circle. BLM, you're the problem, not the solution. But I digress. You know, I'm being too political here. It also communicated that the backbone of Dr. Martin Luther King's dream is that drove the civil rights movement forward in the face of violent resistance. From slavery to Jim Crow, who was a Democrat, by the way, hope has been the engine of the Black community. Hope is a mighty force, and it's hope that has empowered African Americans to overcome hurdles and achieve greater success in the face of monumental adversity, more than any population in the history of mankind. Why y'all not getting that message? All y'all crying about is, oh, we need the government to come save us. The civil rights movement would not happen if you were sitting there relying on the government. And a day, as a people, you have to demand something from the government, and the government will have to follow. And you have to make it like you have to have some leverage to do that. And that's what Martin Luther King did. He went out. They decided to march. No one, they didn't look at no political leader to do anything for them. They just decided, hey, we gonna start a movement. Because movements, grassroots movements, are started by the people, not by some leader in high places, not some elitist people thinking they know what's best for you. That's never gonna happen, bro. No one's gonna come on high, come down from the ivory tower and say, I'm gonna lead you guys to the promised land.
Nope.
That never's gonna happen. It's people like me, it's people like you. They're gonna be like, hey, look, we should demand better. Hey, you, we shouldn't be voting Democrat for 50 years. We've been doing that for 50 years, and look what it's got us. The Democrats have no incentive to change your situation, because think about this. If you're someone who disagree with me, black liberal, or you just apolitical, but you feel like Democrats are the lesser evils of the two party, look at it this way. If nothing changed, you're expected to vote 95% for the Democratic Party. And my argument as a black conservative isn't it insanity to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result? I'll wait. As a black conservative, all I'm telling you to do is, hey, the Democratic Party has no incentive to actually do substantive change in your community. Malcolm X said it best. You think of them first, but they think of you last. Ooh. If I never heard one before. You think of them first and they think of you last. Black women, the most loyal Democratic voter in history, right? Daddy government gonna take care of me and all my kids. You know that single mother woman clip?
When I first met Angel, she was living in a one-bedroom motel. 12 of her children were sharing just 2 beds. And Angel demanded that someone pay for her to move into a new house. With the help of the Department of Children and Families, Angel moved into a new home. But when someone posted stories about her on YouTube, she became internationally famous as an example of what is wrong with the welfare system in America.
That's the expectation y'all have. Y'all tie yourselves to the government to the point where a black conservative like me can't date black women. I'm just being honest. Look, y'all can come from me. Y'all could.
How dare you?
But that's the reality. Because at the end of the day, if I'm supposed to marry somebody that has the same values as me, it's not going to be a black woman.
Bruh.
Because y'all 95% Democrat. Y'all only think one way, most of y'all. Y'all think the Democrats going to come save y'all when they just going to give you scraps. They going to do something to make them look good, but they ain't going to do good for you. They'll sit there, kneel in front of whatever, do all the kneel, as long as they don't have to do anything of substance. All the Democrats do is emotionally appease you. They don't do actually anything to actually get you out of poverty. Because if the black community gets themselves up into a better economic position, they'll lose their vote. They'll lose their voting block. But if you stay the same, they're guaranteed to have at least 80% of y'all vote for them. And the politicians can't mess that up. That's the reality. That's the reality. That's the situation the black community is in. That means the Democratic Party ain't gonna change unless your priorities change. Until it's not enough for black people to be like, okay, it's cool, you feel this way, but we need some results. You just giving us intentions. We need some results now. And every policy that the Democratic Party push, in the long term, negatively affect future generations of black people. Abortion is a big issue in the black community. I'm just saying. It benefits the women of the current generation, but the community as a whole will suffer for it because at the end of the day, your population is still 13%. Manageable and controllable. But y'all don't see the negatives of the policy positions y'all advocate for. That's why y'all need more black conservatives. That's why I'm trying to say, hey, there needs to be more parity in the black community. There needs to be at least 40% black conservatives in the black community. So that way the community becomes more balanced. Because right now, the Democratic plantation... I called it a plantation. Bruh. I know people going to get triggered because I said that. But in the Democratic, y'all expect conformity because 90% of y'all vote Democrat. And anyone who even deviates, even if it's someone apolitical who don't agree with neither side, y'all still gonna push them to our side because we're the only one being like, yeah, I know I'm advocating for this party, but they're advocating for the other party. But this part, I have an argument. This party, I've been voting them 50 years, and y'all still complaining about the same issue because y'all got no leverage. The black community got no leverage. And I'm just saying, hey, the black community can have more leverage if there's just more people willing to vote Republican like I am. Bruh. That's all I'm saying. But y'all want to call me, but the same black liberals who claim to be pro-black will call me a coon, Uncle Tom sellout. But this is my motivation. I just listed out my whole argument for why you should at least be apolitical. or independent. That's just my take. But let me get back into it. I rambled a little bit too long. Hopefully you guys find value in this video. Albino, I'm going to say public schools because I can't say that county. However, though, its so-called anti-racist curriculum has attempted to replace hope with victimhood. Yes, that's true. As a central narrative of Black history. It's a curriculum forces students to view one's status solely based on their race. This is CRT. This is the CRT parents like me are concerned about. Whites are characterized as privileged and blacks are as oppressed. One video told students that only white families can live in big houses. Whoa, boy. Oh boy. A Latina student was confused and disheartened by the video. Her parents, along with 4 other families, have filed a legal challenge against the school district. Yeah, I would too. I would join too. You ain't gonna teach that mess to my kid. You trying to cripple these kids before they even get started. There's a study out there that's at the age of 7, your kid is unconsciously recording anything that's being told, any belief system. This is why they say childhood trauma, because you subconsciously hold on to these things that people tell you. And imagine getting exposed to information like that, saying that you're oppressed because you're black. White people are more privileged than you. Imagine that only white people can live in big houses. Oh, I'm black. That means I never can live in a big house. Like, look at all this narrative. Because all it takes is one black person, one black family live in a big house, and your whole worldview is shattered. And you setting up these kids for failure. I don't know how people can, in good conscience, believe that. Racial injustice in this country is ongoing, right? And it depends on what he's saying here, right? Racial injustice. But to me, I think racial injustice, you can change this to mean that economic, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of the things that's going on in this country is economic now. It's no longer racial now. If you got means, you got money, you're less likely to face racial injustice. How about that? I'll meet you guys in the middle. How about that? LeBron James ain't going through no racial injustice. I'm telling you that right now. In this country is ongoing, but replacing black success with black despair is not the answer. I agree. White students need to see the rich history of black accomplishments. Black Wall Street, but the Democrats will never teach you this. The Democrats don't want you to know that black people was on their way up before the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Bruh.
Just look at Black Wall Street. Look at Tulsa, the Tulsa massacre. White Democrats did. I said white Democrats, but Democrats did that. That's all them. But they don't tell you that in Black History Month. All of a sudden, this is my main concern with Black History Month. Black History Month only seems to hover around a certain particular point of history. They like to cherry pick history, right? Oh, let's vote. Things didn't start getting better in America until 1960s, because that's where Democrats can take credit for. Remember, teachers unions heavily biased towards the Democrats. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it played a part into it, but it could be.
Bruh.
So they never talk about how black community, the Tulsa, the Black Wall Street, how black people were successful businessmen. They were on their way up without needing any interference from the white people. They were by themselves doing this. They were creating their own economy segregated from the white people. And the white liberals or white Democrats or wherever they were at the time, right? Because during because the people who didn't agree with slavery became Republican, they didn't stay Democrats.
Bruh.
If they realize if these people are able to rival us, it'll destroy our whole narrative about what these people did, and we need these people to need us. So we'll destroy what they got, so that way we can work in our system, so that way you become dependent on who? Them. And they're running the same playbook in the Democratic Party. It's the same thing. These people don't want you to be self-reliant, and that's my message. Black people, you need to be self-reliant. And only one party is going to give you the opportunity to be self-reliant, and that's the Republican Party, right? Because my ethos is government do nothing for me. So any black liberal coming in here, oh, the Republican Party ain't going to do nothing for black folk. That's the point. Because I want the black community to become self-reliant. Because you don't have any real power, you don't have any real leverage until you're self-reliant. I'm just saying. The Democrats didn't start considering civil rights, like Lyndon B. Johnson, or was it JFK, John F. Kennedy? They didn't start considering taking Martin Luther King serious until they realized, damn, if we can get all these people to vote for us, we can win an election.
Bruh.
So even then, giving you guys civil rights was politically expedient for both parties. And until this day, they said the only reason that why Martin Luther King ended up siding with the Democratic Party is because when he was in jail, the Republican running against John F. Kennedy didn't make that call. But if he did make that call, we probably would have seen a different version of history.
Bruh.
But that's just my take. You know, you guys can do your research today because it's Black History Month. It's Black History Day. And Black students need to see and celebrate their rich and successful heritage. Students must learn that Black entrepreneurs and white businesses funded the abolitionist and civil rights movement. They don't teach you this? Come on. You can't even define who these people were that was involved in this. The undeniable result was Black success. The importance of hope is more than just rhetorical. Solid academic research shows that students' success in life is heavily correlated with their beliefs in their own abilities. Tell a man who believes he can and a man who believes he can't are both usually right. Yep, I said that in the beginning of the video. To improve their standing, study after study in development economics show that while external factors like access to capital and having basic human needs met are important in raising out of poverty, right? And in my view, this is not because of racism. This is because of your parents. I'm sorry. That's just the truth. Your parents can do the best they can, but you got to make do what you got. You got to be resourceful. But that's on your parents. That's not on racism. Now, maybe your parents are using racism as a cop out for not providing the best possible life for you. But hey, we all can't choose how we start, but we could choose how we finish. Such resources are almost meaningless if the recipient don't believe in their own abilities and agency to use those tools to improve their lives. Bro, a recent research by Professor Eric Kaufman from the University of London showed that students who read a CRT affirming passages from Taniguy Coates, a New York Times bestselling author and CRT advocate, experience a 30% drop in their self-assessed belief in their ability to make positive change in their lives compared to students who read a more empowering passage. Even those who read no passages at all. God. So the very CRT mess, and this is the main problem I have with CRT, and this is why I say CRT is garbage. You better keep this shit. Oh, I cursed. You better keep this stuff away from my family, because you're mentally handicapping my kid by trying to teach him this stuff. Oh, we're trying to give him there's no reality. It's called critical race theory, not critical race proof. Keep that mess away from my family, my community, my state. This is why I live in Florida. This is why I voted for Rob DeSantis. Don't play with us, bro. There's a reason why he won this state by 20%. And yes, I rounded it up. Craziness, bro. And these people they don't want to hear it too. It's their way or the highway, like typical communists. The means justify the ends, huh? Finally, a recent article in the Journal of Black Psychology noted that the importance of hope in encountering the very real impact of racial discrimination. Higher levels of hope has been related to positive outcomes, including fewer depressive symptoms. This is y'all trauma of slavery right here. And less anxiety in general samples. Conversely, higher levels of hopelessness among African Americans emerged adults have been linked to greater suicide ideation and depressive symptomology, even more so than white individuals who have reported higher rates of hopelessness. Hope, therefore, may have a significant impact on mental health outcomes for African American emerging adults. If public school wants to reduce inequalities, counter the psychological harm associated with discrimination, and raise the success of their Black students, they should heed the cry of my former students. Indeed, public schools should be reminded that hope was the answer in an even darker time and remains the answer today. Because imagine, is America more racist or less racist today? In 2023, is America more racist or less racist? Y'all got to answer that question before y'all come at me, all my detractors, all the people who think I'm wrong, all the things who think I'm a coon. You got to answer that question for me. Because if it worked in the worst time for racism in the past of America, because that's in the past, that's behind us. We're in the future, baby. Why can't it work moving forward? I'm trying to build a better future, and I'm not trying to go back and try to rewrite a past that can never be rewritten. It happened. Good. Live with it. Deal with it. Accept it. Move forward. That's my message. School should focus on African American exceptionalism and success to strengthen the hope and agency of all our students and abandon their current policies that emphasize victimhood and disseminate such despair. Great article. Let me know your thoughts. You agree? Disagree? That's my message right there. Self-reliance. That's my message. Do for self. That's my message. That's the Black conservative message. I don't want the government doing nothing for us. Because if they do something for you, they're going to expect something back. Either that's control, that's authority, because if they can feed you, they can starve you. But hey, I digress. Let me know what your thoughts in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree? And let me know why, if you agree or disagree. I want to hear your thoughts on this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate you for watching to the end of the video. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.